changing the book a little bit. So we're going to be talking about like the ending, and I know personally I didn't really care for the ending. I just kind of thought that it like ended, didn't really have like really like abrupt. And so we're gonna like talk about maybe like changing, maybe like adding a little bit to the ending, giving like a little bit more like closure like with some of the characters and stuff like that. So Shell is gonna give us an example of what she thought the ending should be.
Yeah, so I feel like with the ending it kind of wrapped it up really quickly, and I think that that's something that when we're reading a book we can imagine it going further than that, and I think I wrote a few examples, so I'll just read them. So if we looked at the alternate ending and we fast forwarded 10 years from where it had ended, and Naylor learns how to work with Nita to bring educational options to Bright Sands Beach. That's kind of something that they talked about through his journey in reading, but they didn't really explicitly talk about it. So I think that would be a cool way to wrap it up, and how Nita's experiences were able to bring perspective in the Naylor and Pima's world. As she promised them, Nita convinced Lawson and Carlson to recognize the need for a healthier work ethic for the shipbreakers, and how they kind of touched on it in the last 4 pages, but they didn't show how it ended. They just kind of ran off into the distance laughing. So I think that would be a little bit more exciting and a little bit more of a closure. There's also the possibility of not fast forwarding in the future and having Pima and Sadna talk with Naylor and Nita as they have just returned back to Bright Sands Beach after being in Orleans. And Naylor and Nita decide ways to help the workers and the residents. Nita offers the choice of leaving with her or working for her father, and there's like conflict as they grew up there. They are lower class, but they have this opportunity to move forward and work for a bigger company in a higher part. So just kind of looking at the different options that they have, how could the story have moved a little bit further along instead of just finding Nita and bringing her to safety. I feel like there was more of an ending to that, but it wasn't there. So if you guys kind of want to discuss that in your groups, feel free to take a few minutes.
Yeah, so it's like, it can be either like a few years in the future, just like a few years in the future, or even just like a few months, or like right when they come back, just like adding, like I said earlier, like a little bit more like closure, just like with, just a little bit more closure like with the characters. So I'll give you guys like a few minutes, you guys can like discuss it. It can be just like bullet points, that'd be perfect. So go ahead and get started on that.
They're right. They don't talk about like the social issue at all at the end. It's just like left.
They never really touched on like I guess like the relationship and how it changed between Nita and Naylor at the end too. Like they just leave it as like, oh, he likes her. But then there's like this like social gap that you don't know what happens after that. So
Yeah. It's like he was like kind of trying to set himself up for a sequel, but then he also said he wrote a sequel and it sucked. So it's like he like didn't commit to the end. Because I bet the sequel is about that. Like their relationship, like developing or learning how to like, deal with that stuff. I guess, I don't know.
Maybe it's open-ended on purpose. Like, I don't know. Like, because he kind of has hidden messages in his book about the environment, about different things like that are in reality concerns to him. Maybe it's open-ended so that, like I don't know, leaves us thinking about those things, or leaves us like applying it to reality of, hey, these are still issues that are going on in our world that aren't, maybe it's harsh, but kind of reflect that.
Yeah. Also, since you said, his focus is on the the environment and not on the social aspect. That's probably why it's so open-ended. Because like he personally isn't like super socially driven, so he didn't like have like how to do that, or like whose skills or ideas already in his head. You know, it just seems like it wasn't his forte, so it was just like,
And talking about like possibilities of what could happen, nothing really is. So, like, is it going back to normal, or is it still like? That's what I mean. That's why it shows like maybe like a little bit like a step more. It's still like it's not like oh boy, yeah, you are saying that.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop it there. And okay, so if you can bring it all in. Okay, so we're gonna start with this side of the room and just like what are your guys' like ideas how the book should end?
We talked about how, well, we compared it again to the Hunger Games and Divergent, and how, like, both of those sort of end with, like, a little bit of, like, a full circle, and so, like, they come back to normality, sort of, and, like, back to what we're used to, and how this one, how Shipbreaker doesn't really, like, we don't know, just kind of ends how it is, and so we talked about adding something that did go back to normality, like adding, fixing an education system and kind of what you're talking about in yours, and just giving us a little bit more to go off of with how it ends rather than just this is the way it ended.
Cool. Okay, this group right here in the front.
And we were thinking about, like, fast forward 10 years later, and we just like the relationship between Naylor and Mita, and so we wanted them to get married in 10 years, but plot twist, Richard isn't dead, and he he stands up and opposes their marriage. Yes, with an amputated
Should write for soap operas, definitely.
Yeah, back.
So we didn't really do the assignment because we really liked the ending of the book, and so we really didn't want to change it at all. Like leaving it so open-ended kind of goes along with like what I feel like the author is trying to tell us, and that like we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So this could be our future, or like something else could be our future. So by changing the ending and like searching like too far forward, we just kind of felt like it just ruins the story.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, last group right here.
I kind of got distracted at the beginning with like, why is it such a bad ending, you know? And like thinking about how his focus was on for the book, like kind of like they said, the message was the environmental thing, not like reconciling social classes. So it's like, wasn't his goal for the book. Also, like maybe that's what his really crappy sequel was about, you know? Like, it was like, reconciling the classes. So like the first part's like all about the environmental problems that happens in like the future if we continue this way, and so like maybe he didn't want to like overwhelm the book with like both focuses. What did we talk about for ending? Okay.
Yeah, I think we kind of said that this group said a little bit about the open-endedness of the ending was kind of the point to leave us thinking, you know, like this is kind of a more intense version of our reality, distorted version of it, and so like just leaving us kind of applying, you know, what do we do next in our own lives to the open-endedness of the ending.